Hi, today we are going to discuss the topic is how to include a flow in LWC component. Let's see what we are going to cover as part of this topic. The first thing is how to include a flow in LWC and how to handle the changes of status of flow. For example, if you want to navigate to your record when status is finished of flow, okay, and creating a simple flow also, and usage considerations. What are the valid status values of flow interview, and how to customize flow finished behavior. These things we are going to talk about in this session. Let's see. The first thing is how to include a flow in LWC. To include a flow in LWC component, you just need to use a lightning flow component. Under that, you have to use flow API name attribute, which is required, where you are going to specify your flow API name to include your flow into LWC. Okay. After that, if you observe here, we have flow input variables. If you want to pass any variable, any values to flow variables or flow input variables, then you have to use flow input variables attribute. So how you can pass the variable values, how you can pass the input values, we will see everything practically. And on status change, okay, this is where we are going to talk what has to happen if flow is finished, okay, or flow status is finished. So how we can deal with it. Let's see everything, okay, practically. And next, what we are going to discuss here. So when you want to perform some action based on the status changes of flow, you just need to use this on status change event. There you can use handle methods, whatever the method you want to include. There you can check what is the status of the flow. So for example, event.detail.status equal finished. That means if flow is finished, what has to happen? Do you want to perform some action? Yes. If you want to, then you can write that logic here. And this is where we are going to create a simple flow. Let's start creating the flow, then we can talk about other things slowly. Now I'm going to create a flow, just a simple flow. See, screen flow I'm going to create. Now let's create a variable, record variable. Let's see. So I'm creating contact rec, and data type is record. So if you don't know anything about flow, please have a look into flow, how to create a screen flow, these kind of things. Then it will be helpful to understand what I'm trying to say here. This is where we are just creating a flow, and once we create a flow, we are going to create a LWC component. In that LWC component, we are going to include this flow. So I am creating a variable called contact rec. Okay, the data type is record and object is contact. Okay, done. And create two variables. So this is where we are going to talk about how you can pass values to flow from your lightning web component. Yeah, so we are just creating variables for now, available for input. So text type account ID, and whatever the variables you want, you can create. Lead source, for example, available for input. Okay, and right now what I'm going to do, just creating assignment to populate if you have the values account ID and the record lead source. Yeah, you can assign those values. How we can do this here? Assign or populate account ID lead source. And here I am taking contact rec variable account ID and assigning account ID variable. Same way for lead source also, adding lead source. That's it. Now creating a screen. Okay, so let's see, contact creation, and I'm adding fields here. So here you have individual components, and as you have the record variable, under the fields tab you can select the record variable and you can add whatever the values you want to add. Right now what I am trying to do, full name, just drag and drop, along with that account ID. What else I want to, email and lead source. That's it. So before this screen element, we used assign element, right, where we are populating account ID and lead source. Right now those variables don't have values, so it won't populate anything. Okay, let's see how it looks like. And then, and here in the footer, if you want, you can change the label also. For example, so this is the finish button, right? So here finish button, so use custom label, for example, submit. You can, it's okay. Once when you are exploring more, you can get to know what is this. Now what we did, we are creating a flow, and we created a record variable called contact rec, and we assigned or we populated values with the help of assign element, and we have two variables with the help of account ID and lead source variables we are populating for the assign element, and then we added a screen element here where we have full name, lead source, email and account ID. Now we have to create a record. How we can create a record? See here. Create record element. So here create contact record, and I'm selecting this one. So what is going to happen with the help of create record element? So we are going to create a contact record. So this is where I'm assigning our contact record, which is going to have all the values what user gives the input. That's it. And now close this. So once a record is created, I want to assign this record ID to a variable. Okay, so this is where assign, it's not assign, it's a decision. So let's take the assignment element, assign contact ID to contact ID variable. Okay, here we don't have any variable for now for holding the contact ID. I'm creating one. Click on new source, contact ID, and it's a text box. I am putting it as, I'm selecting available for output. So this one we are going to get into our LWC component when we include this flow into the component. So how we can, we'll see that. And here, let's take this. Where is that? This one, contact record ID and ID. So it will have ID. That's it. Okay. Save. I'm creating contact creation variable. This is my flow name. And to include any flow into LWC component, okay, it should be activated first. That means you can include active flow only under LWC component. Now let's start creating the LWC component. So here, flow, so I'm creating a component called LWC with flow. So now what I'm going to do here, okay, what I'm going to do here, so let's see here. Here I'm going to use our component. This is standard component, lightning flow. Okay, and then yeah. Now let's start including our flow. How we can include? There is a attribute called flow API name. What is our flow API name? You can see here if you want, contact creation. Okay, that's it. And we're not doing anything for now, and we have to make sure expose true. Let's set targets. Okay, lightning page I want to include in a account page, so I'm using target as lightning record page. Let's save this. Yeah, it is saved successfully. So what we did here, we just created one simple LWC component, and then using lightning flow component we are trying to include contact creation flow with the help of flow API name attribute. Okay, now let's see how it looks like. So now what I'm going to do, under accounts, on account record page I will add this flow. I will add our LWC component which includes a flow. So here, see, LWC with flow example. Yeah, so let's add that. I'm adding it here. So now I am saving this one simply. Sign as this is common thing. You can do this. Yeah. Now what I did, I just added our LWC component to account record. Now let's see how it looks. See, web test @test1.com. Okay, and I'm selecting the account name, submit. So now what is going to happen? It creates a contact. Okay, let me reload this one. See, Siri, it created a contact. So right now, until now, what we did? First thing is we created a flow. Then we created a LWC component. In LWC component, we included a flow. Now what we are going to discuss, how to pass values from LWC component to flow. So at the beginning of the flow creation itself, we created two variables, that is account ID and lead source. So these two variables we are going to utilize to pass the values from LWC. When we pass values from LWC component to account ID and what is that? Yeah, account ID and lead source, then it automatically populates lead source and account here. Okay, so how it will happen? So because we have a element assignment here, we are populating contact rec account ID, contact rec lead source with the help of account ID and lead source variables. So to these two variables, we are going to pass the values from the LWC. How we can do this? Let's see step by step. Okay. The first thing is you always need to remember, or you always need to copy these values or variables into your LWC while you are using it, and it is case sensitive. Remember this point. Okay. Let's do that. How we can do? The first thing is let's create a variable for holding the current record ID. Okay, what is the variable name we have to create? Record ID. So to hold or to get the current record ID, first thing is you have to define the variable called record ID, and it should be a public variable, right? To make this variable as public variable, what you have to use? You have to use the decorator called API. Okay, now that's it. Okay, API. So what we did? We did declared a record ID variable. Now this is ready to hold the account record ID because this flow, this component is added to the account record page. So it can hold the current account record ID. Now what we are going to do? We are going to prepare a variable to hold or to pass the values to the input variables in the flow. So let's prepare this. So I am preparing the get property input variables. Okay. and then you have to prepare variables. Okay, variables, input variables always need to prepare like in the array format and JSON. So you should have this syntax. Okay, this is where you are going to use name of the variable, name of the flow variable. What is the name of the flow variable? In our case, account ID. And then type. Okay, type means data type. Okay, here string. Value. So always remember this is case sensitive. Okay, so you have to use the same value or same variable name from flow, otherwise it throws an error for you. And then this dot record ID. That's it. So for every variable you have to follow this syntax. Okay, now what you did, you added account ID and type string, and for that you're assigning the value from the record ID. Now we have another variable. Just start another instance of JSON format here. So what is the variable name? Lead source, right? Let's take from here. So lead source. Lead source. Again, type is string. Value is, right now what I am going to do, I'm going to hard code this, but you can do dynamically when you are doing what I'm doing here. Just what values we have, you can give any values anyway, but let's take this phone inquiry. Yeah, yeah, that's it. So what we did, so we prepared input variables. That's it. Now where to assign this to make sure to pass these values to flow. So we have a attribute called flow input variable. Flow, see, this is the one. Flow input variables equals, what is the variable name we define? This is the one, input variables, which contains the values need to be passed to flow variables. So you know the syntax also now, and you know the attribute which has to be used to pass these input variables. Now let's save. Now let's go to our account page, reload how it looks like. Right now, no population, right? No lead source, no account name. So let's see. Yeah, so nothing is coming here. I think it is not refreshed yet. Is it saved? Let's try to deploy again. Yeah, deployed. Mm-hmm. Now let's see how it looks like. Let's debug this one, whether it is auto populating or not. First of all, let's go to this. Mm-hmm. And account ID, phone inquiry. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, it's working. So then there is a problem with our LWC component or refresh. Okay, let me check in this way. Meanwhile, this is account ID and lead source. Both are same. Name, string, type. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's a refresh problem only. We don't have any issues. See, it's already populated. Mm-hmm. See, now let's go back anyway. Here, again, it's not showing this one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just refresh. Okay, let's do. Let's go back. Yeah, it's working perfectly. Let's see this how. Now it should refresh the page. Yeah, at last. Yeah. Okay. Phone inquiry and account name. How it is coming? We are passing the values with the help of input flow input variables attribute from LWC to flow. So to do that, first of all, you should have the flow input variables defined in your flow, and then you have to use the same variables to pass the values from lightning web component. And the syntax is how to follow JSON format. Okay. Anyway, now let's see. Test 2, test 2, test 2 at the rate. Okay. And so this time I didn't select any account. Everything happens. So just reload. Okay. As I am not reloading, it is not showing the current contact which is created. See here, test 2 contact created. Now, what we did till now, first thing is we created a flow. and created necessary flow input variables, and we have one output variable, that is contact ID. After that, we included this flow into LWC and we pass the variable values from flow, from LWC to flow. Now what we are going to do, so when user clicked on this submit button, okay, I want to navigate to this contact which is created. So to do that, what we are going to do, now we are going to use the event flow, the event called on status change. From that, we are going to check whether it is a finished state or not. If it is a finished status, then what has to happen? Then we have to write a logic to navigate to the record. But to navigate to the record, you should have the record ID. In flow, we already have an output variable called contact ID, which is holding the contact record ID once contact is created in flow, right? So now we are going to check how to access this output variable in your Lightning web component. Let's start writing it. So let's go here. Let's start writing the method. So what we have now, we have to get output variable value from the flow and we have to navigate to the record. And along with that, I want to show a toast message also, that contact created successfully. So for all the things, we have to import few things, okay, not for getting the output variable. So for navigating to record, so when you have the navigation, you have to import navigation mixin, you know that already. And when you want to show the toast message, then you have to import show toast event, right? So for getting the output variables, there is a syntax. You will see that now. Let's import what is needed first for navigation and for show toast message. Import show toast event from what is that? Lightning platform toast event. Let's go here. Lightning platform event. Platform show toast event. Okay, one is done. Now another thing is we have to import navigation mixin, as we want to navigate to contact record. Navigation mixin from lightning navigation. Okay, that's it. Now we have to extend this navigation mixin here. The first thing, and then let's define the method to show the toast event. Title, message, and variant. This is our method, constant event new show toast event, and here what we are going to do, title message and variant. So we have to dispatch the event now. This dot dispatch event. Okay, that's it. Now what we did, we just defined a method called show toast to dispatch the show toast event method. Now navigating, how to do this, let's see. Okay, so now let's go ahead. What we can do here, another thing is navigate to record. Let's define this, navigate to our contact record, for example contact. Okay, the parameter record id, and here this just it is syntax again, navigation mixin dot navigate. Okay, and here you have to set the variable values. One is type, that is standard. Any, even for custom object record navigation also you are going to use the same record page, and then set attributes. One is record id, action name is view. Okay, now what we did, we defined show toast, we defined navigate to record method. Now let's do what we can do. Now what I'm going to write, I'm going to write the logic for handling the status change and getting the output variable value from flow. Let's see. So handle status change. So you have event as parameter here. If event dot detail dot status equals finished. Okay, then Let's get the output variable first. Const flow output variable val. How we can get? Simply event dot detail dot output variables. Okay, so here it helps to get the all output variables from the flow along with the values. How to get the values from it? Okay, it is going to be in array format. Let's look through this. Here let I is equals 0 and then I less than flow output variables and then I plus plus. Just I am trying to loop, nothing else. And here output where equals I. Okay, if flow output where equals where dot name equals, okay, what is the output variable name here? Let's take from here. So this is contact ID. Okay, now good. Now what we can do, how to get the value now. Let's check whether there is a value or not first of all. Flow variable dot value, that's it. Now what we do, first thing is we are going to call toast message and then we are going to call navigation method here. Simple. This dot show toast. Okay, here success and contact record is created successfully and variant success, that's it. Now what else we are going to call? We are going to call navigation, which we define simply navigation, navigate to record. Okay, what we pass here, we pass this value, whatever we get here. Okay. Okay. What is this? No module named Lightning Platform. Show toast event. Cool. It's a spelling mistake. Yeah. Along with that, let's add this action also on status change equals. This is the method name. Now let's try to deploy. Yeah, successfully saved. Now let's see whether it is to take too much time for refresh or not. Now one more time. Now what we did, we defined show toast message, show toast method and navigate to record. This is not new. You know how to do show toast event or show toast message, and to navigate also you know. The new thing here, how to capture the output variable value from the flow. Once we get, we are calling these methods. That's it. So let's do this. Test 3. Delete test 3.com. See, not yet refreshed. That's the problem. So simply log out for now, at least. Log in. Wow. Okay, let's go to our account page. And open any account. Let's try to create another contact. Test 4. Test 4 at the rate test4.com. No, not yet refreshed. Test 5. Test 5. Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. Now let's do this. One more try. Seven.com. So just let's refresh. So what we missed here, so we didn't use this length property. So that is why it is not going inside the loop. Okay, now it is working perfectly. This is only we missed here. Okay, so now let's see how it works now. I'm trying to give test 10 and test 10 at the rate test10.com. So now it works perfectly. What happens now? So here it shows toast message. Along with that, it navigate to that contact record. Okay, and email whatever we gave, and the first name, last name, yeah, and lead source also, phone inquiry. And let's go through our code now once. So here what we are doing, we are checking the status of the flow interview here. That is, if it is finished, then I want to get the output variables first of all by using event.detail.output variables. Then I am looping through this output variables. Okay, and then I'm checking this output variable name to process the same, and then to get the value from the output variable I have to use the value property, just passing whatever we need for now. Okay, that is navigate to contact record and show toast. This is important thing here, how to get the output variables from the flow when status is changed. That's how we have to work on passing the values to flow from lightning web component. Okay, now let's see what is there, what else we have. This is considerations. What are considerations we have first of all? So the thing is, as I told you already at the beginning of this session, when you want to include a flow into a LWC component, the flow should be active. And if the flow has any lightning web components or Aura components already inside the flow, then you can't be able to use Lightning Flow on Experience Cloud sites, which is using Lightning Web Runtime. Okay, and valid status values of flow interview. Okay, we already saw finished, right? If you want to perform any other actions for different status of the flow interview or flow, then you have these values. Okay, started, that means the interview is started and ongoing, and paused, if flow is paused, then what you want to perform. If you want to perform anything, these are all the valid status values to check in your if condition and perform some logic. Yeah, if there is error, you can do use error. Okay, this is how you can do that. So the valid status values of flow interview is started, paused, finished, finished screen, and error. And now customizing a flow's finish behavior. What it means basically, by default this flow's finish behavior is restart. Okay, these are all the values, none and restart. So what it means, once you click on finish or continue button, which we renamed now the finish button, so what is going to happen, it is always coming back to receive the input again. But if you want to make it run once, okay, not again to ask input, yeah, then you can set it as a none. So as we have navigation now, you can't see that, okay, how it works. So let me show you how it works. First of all, I am going to uh, comment this one, yeah, and so you already saw the behavior that when you click on finish, then again it's asks for the input. Okay, that means it starts from the beginning. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make it run once. That means it will show a message called flow finished. Okay, instead of asking you to, or instead of starting from the beginning. Okay, flow finish behavior. Okay, equals, what is that, none. Okay, restart is a by default functionality. You don't need to check that. Okay, so none. What is going to happen once you set the flow finish behavior none? Let's see. I stop navigation here. So by commenting this line. So now we are going to see how it looks like when you set flow finish behavior none. Let's go ahead here and open account. Our account here. Let's go ahead here. What we can do is I'm creating test 11 account, and then test 11 at the rate .com. Submit. See, it is showing your flow is finished. Previously, what was happening? Whenever you complete this flow, then it automatically start again, right? How it looks like. Let me show you this. So if it is not none, okay, you have a default value called restart. Okay, restart. Let me deploy this one. I am reloading here. So let's check the value. Yeah, it's a restart. Correct. Now again, I'm doing this test 12. Okay. Okay. Submit. See, this is the default behavior of the flow anyway. So that's why default behavioral value is restart. So when you make it restart or when you are not setting anything for flow behavior, it works as it is how it is working now. But when you set the behavior as none, then user can run this once only until he reload complete page. Yeah, that's how it works. Okay, so now let's remove this and check this behavior once. Okay, as it is the default behavior, there won't be any change. It will starts from the beginning. So that's why to show you this behavior, I stopped navigation. Now test 13. Submit. So it's a normal behavior. Okay, this is how it works. Now I'm going to activate or uncomment our navigation. Let's reload. Test 16, 16, test 16, test 16.com. Save. We successfully navigate to contact record along with toast message. Okay, this is how you can pass the values from LWC to flow. So what we learn as part of this session, so let's recap. That's okay. First thing is how to include a flow. Another thing is how to create a simple flow. We already learned that. So how to include the same flow and how to make sure pass the values to flow via flow input variables. After that, how to get the output variable in your handler method, and how to navigate to the record also we learned. This is how you can work with flow in LWC. Okay, I'll give you these resources under the video. You can go through all this. Okay, even if you want to learn more about flows and other things as well, you can have a look into all these resources which I'm going to provide you. All the best. Please subscribe to Salesforce Textbook.